It's the 800 point Throne of Skulls doubles tournament at Warhammer World. I'm pairing up with Louis to take an army of orcs and spiders. Aaron and Leon are teamed up to take an all-mounted Gondor cavalry force. And well, one of us is going to win it. Hello and welcome to Two Trees Gaming, and happy birthday to us. It's the 2nd anniversary of our channel and we've got an amazing video for you today because we're attending the Warhammer World Throne of Skulls doubles tournament and we win. I'm not going to let you know whether it's myself and Louis or Aaron and Leon. You'll have to wait for the end to find that out. This also feels like part 2 of the GT 2024 video, so if you've not watched that from a few weeks ago, make sure you do. But for now, let's crack on and meet the armies. Aaron and Leon have bought a coronation of the King Army on a beautiful display board, but it's not a lot of models. It's all mounted. In Leon's half is Aragorn, Hurin and 5 Knights of Gondor. In Aaron's half is Gandalf the White, Baragon, 5 Knights and 3 mounted Citadel Guard. And that's it.
I could fit half my army on a packed lunchbox.
How many models is that total?
17.
Did you guys know it was 800 points?
Yeah, it looks a bit more like 800 points when you include the dismounts. Yeah, Jake said the only scene in the film is where they get slaughtered. We're here to prove that if you add Aragorn and Gandalf, they do okay. Myself and Louis are bringing Razgush the Spider of MIRKWOOD Legendary Legion. One of our main strengths was actually the fact we were using a Legendary Legion, so we knew that our leader would always be Razgush and he would always be in the middle of the board. That meant Louis would always be the reinforcing army, so he could have all the mobility and I could have a good, strong, sturdy battle line. And so my army was Razgush, who's a solid leader with 3 attacks, 3 wounds, 3 might, defense 7, and he's got heroic strike and a shield, so he can hold his own and dish out a decent amount of punishment when backed up by a spear and a banner. My banner was on a wag and was accompanied by a second wag rider, so they could stay close and pass it if needed. I had 3 giant spiders and a MIRKWOOD spider. Most battle lines are only 6 or 7 models wide. The spiders would hopefully have the move required to flank anything I'd be up against. The rest of my half wasn't quite so powerful. It was 13 Mordor orcs and 6 trackers. Louis' half of the army was simpler. In the caves below my force, he had 4 giant spiders and a MIRKWOOD spider magnetised to the walls. He had a Wag Rider captain which has been converted. He's got 3 Wag Riders, 1 with a banner and 2 fell wags with him. There's a bat swarm hanging from the ceiling. This is the perfect anti-hero model as it halves the fight value of any model fighting against it, rounding down after heroic strikes. This means you can't ever get past fight value 5 when fighting against the bat swarm, and his Spider Queen is fight value 6. She's also strength 6 with monstrous charge and venom. These 2 rules combined mean she's always going to be killing, but she's only defense 4 with 3 wounds and no fate. She is the epitome of a glass cannon. She also has a very unique special rule that's worth highlighting too, progeny. It lets her spend any amount of will to drop a broodling within 3 inches of her. The broodlings can then move and charge. They're terrible fighters, but they have a 10-inch move just like the Spider Queen, which means she could feasibly reach 23 inches if she needs to. What list do you 2 want to play?
What do we want to play?
Elves.
We just want to play elves. give us elves all day.
You're going to regret that when Thranduil turns up with a load of dwarf pros.
It's okay, we can take Thranduil because Razgush's fight value is boosted to 6.
It's the worst legendary
It's
legion
such a bad legendary legion.
It might be worse than Let's Skips.
I'm going to apologise to the viewer now because all the photos are going to be through Citadel Woods because one of our only bonuses is to get woodland creatures, so every battle is going to be on
Oh yeah, elves don't have that, do they? Oh, I forgot about that.
We've got a very killy, very squishy army with low courage that's very fun to play. I think we're going to do okay, but more importantly, I want to know who's going to finish higher out of myself and Louis and Aaron and Leon. This is a Throne of Skulls tournament, and so game score makes up 50% of the overall score, with 6 points for a major win, 5 for a minor win, 2 for a draw, 1 for a minor loss, and none for a major loss. The other half of the tournament score is split into 2. Each team receives 2 votes to give to the most sporting opponent or best game that they played, and 2 votes to give to the best army that they played. The first scenario was Take and Hold. Just a quick reminder to go check out the Baron of Dice. They've got dice for all different types of game, 40k, Blood Bowl, Warhammer Fantasy, Age of Sigmar, and of course, Middle Earth. There's a huge range of Middle Earth adjacent dice. Go check them out. Use your discount code 2trees5. Let's get back to the video. For take and hold, each team's primary and secondary forces deploy in diagonal corners from each other, 12 inches in from the corner of the board. There's one objective in the centre of the board. You score 3 victory points if you have more models within 6 inches of it than your opponent, 5 victory points if you have twice as many, and 7 victory points if you have 3 times as many models there. You get 1 victory point for wounding the enemy leader, or 3 for killing them, and 1 victory point for breaking the opponent, or 3 if you break them and are not broken yourself. When one army is broken, roll a dice at the end of the turn. On a 1 or a 2, the game ends. If not, play continues and roll again at the end of the next turn. There's a special rule for this scenario too. Models within 6 inches of the objective gain the resistant to magic special rule and may re-roll failed fate rolls. We were drawn on a really cool Khazad-dûm inspired board, and we were against 2 excellent opponents in Chris and Lewis. Chris actually has his own YouTube channel, so I've linked that in the description. And before anyone comments, yes, their army is an illegal doubles army. They did exactly what me and Louis did at the Aragorn doubles a year or 2 ago. There's a video about that popping up here hopefully now. Future Jake just interrupting here to explain why it's an illegal army. Each player can take the same faction or a different faction, but each player can only take one faction, and Lewis had both Easterlings and Khand in his half of the force, so unfortunately it was an illegal army. Knowing Chris and having played him now, I know that he'll be waiting for this video, and he'll either be in shock because he didn't realise it was an illegal army, or he'll be absolutely peeing himself laughing because now he knows that we knew, and yes, we knew straight away, but actually the painting was so good, we ended up giving them our best army vote anyway. Their army was Amdur and Brogir in one half, and Rutabi and the Kandish King in the other. There was a scattering of black dragons and runish cave drakes, but it was mainly a big Easterling pipe block. We had the mobility, and Rutabi scares me, so we decided to mob Amdur's half of the army. We managed to keep them out of the middle, but this passage was causing us problems, so we had to change tactic, and we pivoted and headed for Lewis's half of the army. We formed a sort of U-shape to receive the chariot. It wouldn't be able to hit us thanks to the columns, and we would be able to jump it if it did come through. Amdur spectacularly failed a heroic combat to help reach the middle, and even though his red runish war drake killed about 6 of our warriors, we held on. We had lots of bodies in the middle, and the only thing that could go wrong for us would be if Razgush were to die in either of the last 2 turns of the game. He was in single combat against Rutabi, and he had no might and the lower fight value. He did lose combat as well. Luckily, he was wounded and not killed. In the end, we'd both wounded the opponent's leaders, both broken each other, and at the end of a fantastic game, we had more models in the middle and took a 5-2 major victory. A great start to the tournament for myself and Louis. Let's see how Aaron and Leon are getting on. They were facing a strange mix of Mordor led by a troll chieftain and goblins led by Groblog. They used their mobility to mob the goblin half of the army, and it fell without too much trouble, but the orcs had now taken the centre of the board. They had left one side of their barricade open though, and the good heroes managed to heroic combat inside the fence. It was all very close and very tense, but in the last turn of the game, Aragorn and Hurin managed to pin the ring wraith and the troll chieftain, which meant a load of orcs ran.
And in the very last turn, Hurin only charged the troll chieftain to take his standfast away so that they would run away and we would win on the objective. We then tied the objective, but Hurin put a wound onto their leader in the last turn.
And made it 2-1.
Made it 2-1. Made it 2-1 instead of 1-1.
And that's a major.
That's a major win. Oh.
Any major win's a major win.
Also, shout out to this conversion of the orc carrying the troll's helmet. Absolutely love that idea. And speaking of conversions, let's take a little trip to the conversion corner. Aaron's Citadel Guard are all Knights of Gondor with green stuff cloaks, as is his Beregond. Louis' Spider Queen is simple in principle, but actually soaring between each of the legs without breaking anything is a lot harder than it looks. My captain and banner bearers are Warg Riders, chopped at the waist and combined with a siege veteran, and you guessed it, a banner bearer, as is Louis' Warg banner bearer. His captain though is an absolute monstrosity. Please don't humour him in the comments. It's a guy from the top of a great beast stuck onto a spider. He was holding some reins, but the Spider Queen took a little tumble off a cliff. Broke the model. Sorry, Louis. And last up, our wags are all reposed and fleshed out with a bit more fur than they begin with. I just feel like it sets them apart from usual wags and makes them look a whole lot better. In Total Conquest, there are 5 objective markers. 1 is placed in the centre of the board, the other 4 are placed halfway between the centre of the board and the corners of the board. Team A deploys their primary force in a 6-inch semicircle in the centre of the board. Team B does the same. Both secondary forces arrive via the rules for Maelstrom of Battle, which are on screen now. You score 2 victory points for each objective that has at least one of your models and no enemies within 3 inches of it. If there is an enemy within 3 inches of it but you have more models there, you score 1 victory point. You score 1 victory point for wounding the enemy leader and 1 victory point for breaking the opponent. The game ends when one force is reduced to 25% of its starting number. Game 2 was against Ben and Phoebe. They were such great opponents, but we knew we were in for a tough game because myself and Leon had really struggled against Ben at last year's doubles tournament, even after rushing into an early lead. And they'd bought a meta list this time. It was Suladan and Raza in one half, and the Witch King and Kardash in the other. They rolled Suladan to deploy in the centre of the board, which I was pretty worried about, as he's well matched against my orcs with so many Fight 4 elites around him and the huge banner helping them. Luckily for me though, Louis turned up with his whole army directly behind Suladan. Phoebe's Witch King arrived next to them, but Kardash rolled a 1 and his warband had to stay off. A near fatal error from Louis though had him leave our defence for Zero Fate's Spider Queen front and centre of his lines. Ben turned his archers round and fired shots at her. It was horrible to watch as they rolled the dice. They scored 2 wounds and now she was left with 1 wound, no fate, and still defense 4. We had 3 might left on her and we were going to spend it as hard and fast as possible to make sure she didn't die with any. In the early rounds, Suladan's banner was proving to be a huge thorn in our side, but the game swung when at one point both Suladan and Raza ended up in combat with our Spider Queen. She was nearly dead and so Heroic struck, and then we jumped one of their warriors with a captain, a bat swarm and a giant spider and called a heroic combat. This left Ben in a really awkward position. We were splitting the combats and the bats could land into either of their heroes. Ben would have to heroic strike with both Raza and Suladan to have a chance at the higher fight value. If he only used heroic strike with one, that's the one the bats would target, and the other would be left to the Spider Queen. He opted not to spend any might with either, and both of them paid the price and were killed. Elsewhere on the board, Phoebe continually rolled 1s with Kardash to arrive and eventually spent his might just to get him on the board. With Ben's heroes dead, we thought we were in the clear, but Phoebe stepped up to the mark and black darted the Spider Queen from the face of the board in revenge. With time running out, we agreed to 2 more turns and she scattered our trackers on an objective with an inspired use of Instill Fear, and it was looking like they might rescue a draw. It wasn't to be though, and after a great scrap, the game ended 9-2, although it was much closer than that score would suggest. If we had to play Ben and Phoebe every game for the tournament, we would have had a fantastic time. But in case they're inspecting the votes, I don't normally reveal them, but I wanted to let them know that they didn't actually get our vote for best game, and it was such a hard call for us. We really wanted to vote for them, but hopefully you'll see why that didn't happen as the tournament progresses. But honestly, thank you for the great game. Hopefully we'll play again soon. Let's see how Aaron and Leon are getting on.
Second game, we played Iron Hills and Thranduil. They killed 3 knights in the first turn, they didn't kill anything else. We melted the Iron Hills dwarves in 4 turns. 18 dwarves and Dane went in 4 turns. Sorcerer's blasted the banner into Dane, knocked the Dane off his pig. Then Aragorn and Yorin murdered him.
Double teamed them.
We hit on a 5 with a Citadel Guard to wound Thranduil, and they're on a stag do. Dressed as hobbits on a stag do.
Literally the best stag do you can ever have.
In the end, it was an 8-2 major victory for them, and against Dane and Thranduil, that's a really good result. In No Escape, Team A deploys their primary force within 6 inches of the centre line of the board. Team B does the same in their half of the board. Team A then deploys their secondary force within 6 inches of the board edge in the opposite half of the board. Team B then does the same. You score 1 victory point for wounding the enemy leader or 3 for killing them. 3 victory points for breaking the opponent, or 5 if you break them and are not broken yourself. 1 victory point if you have a banner alive at the end of the game, or 2 if you have a banner alive and your opponent doesn't. And you score 2 victory points if you kill the leader of the secondary force. The game ends when one force is reduced to 25% of its starting number.
So you've got 2 wins going into game 3.
Yeah.
What table are you on and what are you drawn against?
Table 7?
They were literally next.
Next to it.
It was for the viewers.
So, table 7, and we're fighting your army from last year, basically.
Yep.
Gothmog and Witch King alliance with Moran and
Was this the Witch King that was better conversion?
Yes. Yeah, the really nice Witch King.
It does look better than mine.
So Gandalf was our leader again. They kind of deployed to one side, but we deployed second, which was really key. We basically herded them against the back of their board, and then they were like, we have to take the charge here. So then, I mean, Aragorn just mopped up again, didn't he? Aragorn mopped up. Very last turn of the game, they heroic moved with Gothmog, and he just messed it up. He moved Gothmog around to surround a knight. Goroth then ran away, he was going to help him, and then he didn't move the Witch King far enough. He could have moved him the extra 2 inches. Gandalf compels they thought Gandalf was trapped. Gandalf compels a guy out of the way, charges Gothmog, and then murders him. So 6-3.
6-3. So you've got yourself three
major wins.
3 major wins.
We've gained 14. We've got 16 victory points.
So I nearly have victory point per model.
Yeah.
For game 3, myself and Louis got the exact matchup that we wanted. Elves. Paul and Russell were excellent opponents. They actually got our best game and best painted vote, and it was a beautiful army with a fantastic game. We did a little recap in the car afterwards, but all you really need to know is that we won every roll off, thanks to my gross need to roll low rolling technique, which is kind of a throw the dice away like you don't want it. Blah. Luckily, I was using official Games Workshop dice because they definitely would have had them inspected.
We wanted the Mirkwood elves in the middle, didn't we? But ended up being Thranduil in the middle. But we got
that
really.
was the last roll off that didn't go our way. Elvish made weapons, try 2.
Yeah.
2. Every roll.
I was like, 2. 1. Every result. And it meant they deployed first, so then I could deploy opposite. Louis' Broodlings came turn 1. Took the spear supports off, but actually the guy in the middle played it really well. I was like, this is done, because they've got no spears, they've got all these dice. He shielded in exactly the right moment and ended up kind of killing back on us. Eventually, we kind of worked through them, didn't we, using the bats?
We just ground through them enough time that as Legolas arrived, we managed to mob Thranduil with a bat and Razgush, and it kind of then freed us up for...
We had one bad play, didn't we, where we tagged Tariel and we were like, right, we'll get Thranduil and Tariel, bat, Razgush, everybody. She just heroic combated into the bat. And then all we had to do, so we were like, it's fine, we'll heroic strike the Spider Queen. All we had to do was not roll a 1. The only roll for the game that went our way after the first one. We rolled a 1 with it, and then they won the thing, and then Razgush tanked the hits, then he lost his fate. 7 dice from Thranduil because we'd surrounded him so much.
Yeah.
If they'd got another wound on, they get a victory point. So then we mopped up in the middle, and then it was just walking at their archers.
We mopped up with Tariel's face.
Oh yeah, we mopped up with Tariel's face. Have a guess how many wounds you think we caused on Tariel now?
In 1 turn.
We had no spear support, maybe 1 spear. How many do you think we killed? How many wounds did we cause on Tariel?
Well, you put 16 on Heldy at that time, so I'm going to say 18.
Any guesses? 27.
That's Razgush's D3 wounds, all 6 wounds surrounded, landed, and half of them were D3.
They're all hatred as well, so it's so easy to wound.
Landed 3 wounds.
Oh my god.
And then the spiders have got
20. I mean, that's just in pieces. If I was them, I wouldn't play her in the
Do you know
next game.
Snargo when it's like meat's back on the menu and they're just like throwing bits out? And then, so then it was just running at elven archers. They had no heroes with them, so they started gradually running themselves. And then our spiders hit, because of the hatred elf, they need 2s re-rolling 1s against the defense 3 Mirkwood elves. It was actually amazing because they just set up a gun line and we were running at them. It was thematic. And then in the end, we managed to get all our models in combat, killed like 3, and then he was like, oh, you might table us with 4 combat stuff. We were like, now all that matters is tabling them. So we managed to table them for 12-0. They were absolutely awesome opponents. We had 3 really good games, really nice opponents. We're on our way to day 2 of the doubles tournament at Warhammer World. I think the first thing to say is we're all doing really well, but we can't lose to these 2. They look like they've left half their army at home.
That's what everybody else has said. We can't. They've literally said the words. We cannot lose to these 2 idiots. we're showing the glory of MINAS TIRITH.
It's beautiful. It is actually beautiful.
This is why they only sent out that lot of the game.
Nice.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah, they needed those. Yeah, exactly.
I'll wait see what actually happened.
If Leon was rolling those dice, Gothmog's
that feels doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So we're on the last day. I mean, we'd snap your hand off for a win. We'd take a win, wouldn't we, I guess? Would you take 2 minor losses, but the board gets in the cabinet?
The cabinet?
Oh, the cabinet!
The cabinet.
I'd take 2 losses. 2 major. I would take 2 12-0s and my ball goes in the cabinet.
We're in it for the cabinet.
Yesterday didn't happen, but I'm in the cabinet.
Yeah, not even close.
So I know we've had some nice shots of our board at the start of the video, but I thought I'd just talk through it in a little more detail. You can see we've got MIRKWOOD spiders hanging. We've got some Frodos from the Shelob set at the back there hanging. They go pretty cheap on eBay as they do nothing in gameplay terms. We've got this abomination down here. It looks like it's from Battle for Middle-earth 2. It's this orc riding a spider with an elven shield on his back. We've got magnetized spiders and bats and the Spider Queen in the roof there. The bats upside down are also a highlight. I'm not a huge fan of those models, but upside down in a cave they look awesome. Nice elvish writing. And then we've got my section on top. Louis built the actual framework for it, and the Great Beast was going to be part of his Throne of Schools list. But obviously it's just for display now. So we've got these guys with the chains. We've got axe guys at the front. We've got a converted siege veteran here into a captain, and a converted banner. Most of the orcs converted as well, and then at the back we've got the giant spiders and then the wag dismounts. All the wags are converted, but if I can get that one out, you'll see we've kind of added a bit more, if you'll focus, a bit more fur down their back, just to fill them out a little bit, which I think does add a lot. Overall, really happy with the board. For Duel of Wits, each team deploys their armies in diagonal quarters of the board, but not within 12 inches of the centre of the board. Each player secretly writes down one enemy hero to be their target, so both teams will have 2 targets. You may not discuss with your teammate which hero you've selected. You score 1 victory point for each of your team's targets that's been wounded, or 2 victory points for each one that's been slain. If both players chose the same hero, you'll score the victory points twice for that hero. You score 2 victory points for each of your opponent's targets that are within 6 inches of the centre of the board. Again, scoring double if they selected the same hero. You score 1 victory point for breaking the opponent, or 2 if you break them and are not broken yourself, and 1 victory point if you have a banner alive at the end of the game, or 2 if you have a banner alive and the opponent doesn't. When one arm is broken, roll a dice at the end of each turn. On the roll of a 1 or a 2, the game ends. If not, play continues and roll again at the end of the next turn. Aaron and Leon had a nail-biting 4th game, and they were up against a Gondor and Rohan mashup. Leon had chosen Damrod as the model he'd like to kill, and Aaron had chosen Elfhelm, on the basis that Damrod would be able to stay well out of the action. Presuming that the opponent had picked Baragon, they protected him by keeping him in the middle of the board, near their other heroes. It's a risky move, but it paid off. Aragorn managed to bring down Damrod, but Aaron couldn't bring down Elfhelm. Aragorn was wide of the action and couldn't quite bring his might to sway, and it meant they lost the game 8-6, a really narrow defeat. It seemed like an excellent game though, and remember, the quality of the army and sportsmanship is going to contribute hugely to who wins this tournament. Let's see how myself and Louis are getting on in game 4. We found ourselves on table 1, and I was determined to keep us there. I wanted Louis to get the chance to redeem himself after what happened at the GT this year. But needing to roll 1s and 2s on gross roll-offs wasn't going to cut it against 2 cave drakes on table 1. It felt like a very big step up all of a sudden. Our opponents were Oliver Hammond, son of beloved Patreon Julian Hammond, and Jake, and these guys were really nice guys, but they knew how to play. Alongside their cave drakes, they'd bought Durbers, Groblog, a captain and a shaman. Crucially, we started the game 2-0 up thanks to our banner, and we didn't fuss too much about getting into the middle. It was more about killing our target and protecting all of our heroes. They were unlikely to have picked Razgush to kill, but both captains and the Spider Queen were easy pickings for a Drake. The whole army was stunning, but the fire and ice drakes were just so cool. We managed to use a few trackers to goad the ice drake away from the action, and I think that might have been the only mistake they made all game, but it did give us an advantage elsewhere on the board. A poor heroic combat from Razgush meant I couldn't quite fit into combat with their goblin captain, who myself and Louis had both picked, and now it was super obvious. Luckily we killed him the following turn and put ourselves 6-0 up. We circled around the house away from the Drake to try and punch through the goblins to get our heroes to the middle, but they put up sterner resistance than we thought. It left Louis' Spider Queen performing a rearguard action with the Broodlings, but rather than create a roadblock, he charged into combat, which let the Drake move past them and barge into the Spider Queen, who was killed. It was no secret that this is who they'd picked, judging on their celebrations, and now we were in for a close game. It was a massive error from us, and with all the targets dead, there was now 4 victory points left in the game. 2 for having a banner, and 2 for breaking the opponent. It was tight, but we managed to squeak out an 8-4 major victory, having kept our banner alive and broken them. And on table 1, in the second to last game of the tournament, That's a massive result. Here's the thing though, we were buzzing to be on table 1 in the last game of the tournament, and what's more, we got an army nomination from the judges. Aaron and Leon didn't though, and it actually broke our heart a little bit. Aaron did have a chat with the judges, which was really nice of them to come over and talk to him and explain how to improve and maybe get better and get nominated next time. We'll talk about that discussion in more detail on a future video, I'm sure, but watch this space. Aaron's going to get a nomination for one of these tournaments, and it's going to be soon. And the rest of the nominees were as stunning as ever, and it was great to see a few of our opponents make it to the cabinet too. In Clash of Champions, each force deploys anywhere in their half of the board. Keep track of how many kills the leaders of both forces score. Kills by shooting, magical powers and the hurl brutal power attack do not count. You score 3 victory points if your leaders have killed more models than your opponent's leader, 5 victory points if your leaders have killed twice as many models as your opponent's leaders, and 7 victory points if your leaders have killed 3 times as many models as your opponent's leaders. You score 2 victory points for each enemy leader that is killed by one of your leaders, and 1 victory point if the enemy army is broken. The game ends when one force has been reduced to 25% of its starting number, and there's a special rule for this scenario. For each army, whichever of the 2 leaders has the least kills gains +1 to wound during combat. We're table 1 in the final game of the tournament, and Louis' been here before. I said this was part 2 of the GT review, and it is. He lost 11-0 in the final game of that tournament on table 1. It's not going to happen again, because this time, he's not alone.
Rohit!
But first, let's take a 20-second segue to find out how Leon and Aaron got on in their final game.
Aaron and Leon, your last game, it was the scenario you were waiting for. Leader kills, we've heard for months from them. We're going to smash leader kills, we're going to win leader kills. It's Aragorn and Gandalf. What were we up against? How did it go?
So you know how last time I had bears for breakfast? Bears had Gandalf for breakfast.
So
They were nice guys as well, weren't they? They were quite like you.
And from the point of view, like, of you guys, I mean, you've won 3 games out of 5 with that army.
Wait, look, it shows how good the game is, because that army was not. I mean, you were laughing at us.
We were
literally laughing at us, saying, "Why are you even bothering?"
That was off the back of a practice game that lasted 25 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, Louis
Yeah.
didn't manage to make it home to see the end of the practice game because we started before he got there. He was like, "Oh, when we're playing? Oh, yeah, well, we're done. We're done."
Yeah, it was.
So 3 major wins and a point for the minor loss, yeah?
Point for the minor loss. Yeah.
That's good. So in the schools, then anything can happen.
That's all you need to know. The Bears had Gandalf for breakfast. And Louis is right, people have won Throne of Schools before on 3 wins. But for now, it's back to table 1, and I've actually got my brothers back for once, and the game was an absolute classic. We're needing kills, and we're up against 2 Fell Beasts, 2 Siege Bows, 2 Great Beasts, a few Trackers, and about 5 Black Numenorians. That doesn't leave us with a lot of targets to actually kill. They deploy their trackers up top in some buildings, so the only models actually on the ground, really, are the Black Numenorians. George and Sam knew exactly what they were doing. They started the game by draining the Spider Queen's courage to stop her being able to charge the Black Numenorians. Louis decided it would be best if he saved his will to resist an immobilize or a black dart, so he took the courage hit. The Spider Queen was now reduced to being courage 3, plus the Harbinger of Evil, she was down to courage 2. Louis rolled a 5 to charge into the Black Numenorians and had a massive call. He decided to spend 1 point of might and 2 points of will to charge into 2 Black Numenorians. He then immediately called a heroic combat, knowing that he'd already passed his terror check. He had options to attack their Witch King, so he called a heroic strike in defense, and our heroic combat came off, and instead of attacking the Witch King, he ploughed into 2 more Black Numenorians, killing 4 in the first turn of the game. On the other side of the board, a Great Beast killed 3 of our guys. Not the end of the world for us, as it meant there'd be less for their leaders to kill, and we charged it with everyone we could, which was difficult as we needed 9s with most models due to the Harbinger of Evil from the raids, but we managed to get at least 10 warriors in, including Razgush and quite a few spiders. We had the fight value thanks to Razgush, and we decided to go big and called a heroic combat. The idea was we'd passed all our terror checks with everything we needed to kill a Great Beast, so we'd kill this, Razgush would move into some of the poor crew that fell from the top, and the rest of the spiders and things would move into the second Great Beast. Unfortunately, Razgush decided to roll 1s and 2s for most of the game, and the heroic combat didn't come off. We did score a few wounds, but it didn't stampede. Not only had we wasted a point of might, but we were left with a problem, because now we were very tramplable, and their great beasts were close enough together to affect each other with a heroic move. It was great positioning from them, and they won the crucial roll-off. It was carnage. They squished 8 of our guys, including 3 spiders, which were by far and away the best way of bringing the beast down. We're still winning the game on leader kills though, and back on the other side of the board, we make an epic play. There are victory points for killing enemy leaders with your leaders, and their wraith was close in against the ruin, so could be tracked by 2 models. There was 2 trackers up on top of a building that the Spider Queen could have gotten to, but the opportunity to get a kill and the VPs and shut down one of their leaders was just too great. We just needed someone to pin the Witch King in place, and we managed to pass our terror checks with both the giant spider and a bat swarm, so we actually had the fight value there too. Here's the problem though. You remember the trackers that were up on the terrain? One of those is in charge range of the bat swarm that's fighting the Witch King, but he has to roll a 6 to get into combat. Obviously he rolls a 6. They ninja'd it down off the terrain, charged into the bat swarm, and now the Witch King is in a one-on-one with a spider. He can't heroic combat into the Spider Queen because he needs the fight value, so he calls a heroic strike, and then barges into the Spider Queen, but rolls a 1 on his barge, so he doesn't make it, and now it's back to the Spider Queen and our captain versus their ring wraith, and we failed to kill it. We win combat and we just can't wound it. Even with all the venom and rerolls and trapping, it's just the worst rolling you've ever seen. The Witch King and the Spider Queen then have a showdown on the next turn and bounce off each other, whilst over with the Great Beast, Razgush finally brings one down with a heroic combat, landing the final blow on the beast and killing 2 of the crew. That puts us 7-1 up on kills, but unfortunately they win a few roll-offs and a few bits of good play, and they claw a few kills back, and it's anyone's game again going into the last turn. It all hinges on 3 combats. We've got Razgush facing off against a Great Beast that's got 2 wounds left. They've got a Nazgul that's surrounded by 3 orcs, and there's the Witch King who's fighting 2 orcs and an orc spearman. If Razgush slays the Great Beast, or we kill either of their wraiths, we win. If they kill 5 out of the 6 models they're in combat with and we've not made a kill, they win. Razgush starts the turn by winning combat against the Great Beast, but he can't get the double 6 required to make the kill. He's got no might left. So it's on to their wraiths, and they need to get 5 out of 5 kills to win. We just need to survive or bring one of them down. Their first wraith rolls a 5 on its dual roll and hasn't got any might, but I can't get the 6 I need on my 3 dice, and what's worse, it kills all 3 models it's in combat with. I then take on the Witch King with 2 orcs and a spearman. He rolls a 4 high. All I need to do is get a 5 on 3 dice. I roll a 4 and we're matched. He's got the fight value advantage, so he takes his strikes and kills both models he's in combat with, and the victory is snatched from us and they win 4-1. That was an incredible game, especially given the context of it being the last game of the tournament on table 1. We gave them our best game vote knowing full well it would mean they win the tournament. But things weren't exactly as they appear, because this is the best hobby in the world, and I'll explain why in a second.
So it comes to the awards then, and we didn't win any painting awards, but like, unbelievable, so happy to be nominated. Congratulations to the guys that did win it. We played them, me and Leon played them last year, didn't we? Sound guys, they joined us for the pub quiz, he's won best painted, like fair play. There's a best in bracket award, which is basically if you do perform the best gaming score with the same amount of people who got the same amount of wins as you. And huge shock, Aaron and Leon were the best in bracket for 3 wins.
3 wins?
3 major wins and a minor loss.
We kept going in that losing cause, and we just got those points to get a minor loss.
Yeah, so congratulations to 3rd and 2nd place. And then 1st place, huge congratulations to them. Absolutely buzzing. It was us, genuinely. I mean, we must have got votes and all kinds of stuff from people, so thank you to the people that played us. But like, and well done for Louis for doing 98% of the display board while I was crocked with my surgery. But like, we painted all our own models.
You get surgery votes.
No, there was no sympathy. There was no sympathy votes. No,
okay, that's fine.
No.
It all makes sense.
Thank you so much to everybody that voted for us. We had such a great tournament. but stick around for just a few minutes longer to find out where Aaron and Leon finished. But you want to know why this is the best hobby in the world? Here's why. We voted for George and Sam, the guys that beat us in the last game on table 1, as best game, knowing full well it would condemn us to not being able to win the tournament. After looking at the tournament breakdown though, they must have voted us best game and best army, knowing that we were their main competition. Credit to them for that. I mean, look, this is great. What they did is better. And what's more, the elf team that we beat, that we won 12-0 against and tabled, also voted as best army and best game. That can't have happened often, but people are just there to roll dice and have fun, and that is what makes this so great. Being able to just chat Middle-earth, Lord of the Rings, talk display boards, painting, YouTube, pub quizzes, whatever it is, it's the people that play it that make the hobby so good. We're so happy to have a trophy to show for it, even though I immediately lost the plaque. We can't wait for the next one. I'm paired with Aaron, so that's going to go horribly wrong, and Leon and Louis are together, and I think they've spoken to each other about as much as Legolas and Frodo have. But the last thing is finding out where Aaron and Leon finished. We were driving home as the results came in, so we've pulled up to the side of the road to have a look.
We are very nearly back home from Warhammer World, but the results have actually just come in, so we know kind of what we've got voted and exactly where, more importantly, Aaron and Leon have finished. So
Yeah.
what it's
I've loaded.
it's loading.
I'm only loading page 1.
Oh,
I'm not dealing with any page 2 crap.
this could be super
We're on
awkward.
3 games, we are on page 1. Oh my god,
The results
I
are
didn't
in-
have to go far. F***ing hell.
Oh
Oh no. Oh, okay,
what? Is Damrod cost you?
so you are first
Yeah.
with 9 game and 12 army.
Wait, it's a 9 game.
3 votes.
3 votes for
Three
games,
best
3
game,
best
4
game
best
and
army.
4 best army.
Oh, it's 3 best game, 4 best army.
No way.
We're
Thank
4th.
you. Oh!
We are 4th.
Oh my
We finished
god.
4th.
Got it.
No, you didn't.
We
I'm
finished
delighted at the same
4th
time.
with 4 best game and 3 best army. We finished 2 points behind 3rd.
4 best game.
No, sorry. We finished 1 point behind 3rd with 3 best game and 4 best army. We finished 4th.
Wow.
So that if we'd have picked Damrod, we'd have had that game.
Damrod! And you wouldn't have faced the Bears if you'd have
And
picked
then we would have
Damrod.
faced the Bears. Oh my god. So,
You good.
oh my god.
Just read us out them final scores then. Just go, how many overall points did me and Lou get? And then second and
45.
third.
45,
45 overall.
43 for second, 41 for third, 40 for us.
Oh!
4th.
That's amazing. That is actually amazing. Unbelievable tournament.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
4th?
Fourth.
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
Awesome.
That's more impressive than your win. I'm just saying that right now.
It's not first.
Can you imagine if we...
As I mentioned at the start of the video, it's 2 years of Two Trees Gaming. So thank you so much to our Patreons. Please join them if you're enjoying the videos. It really, really does go a long way. And thank you to our Patreons. It's been a crazy 2 years. I mean, the first year we were just kind of dipping our toes in. The last year's just been constant work, but it's been really, really good fun. And we're going to start the next year with the Battle of 5 Armies. It's coming very, very soon. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Aragorn throughout March is going to be massively useful as well, like in terms of him catching up to you.
Aren't we just playing cricket?
If there is any interest in a cricket spin-off where me and Aaron talk cricket,
Oh, yes.
let us know in the
Yes,
comments.
let us know in the comments.
I will not be on that.
There is such a
You know what?
cricket
Two
podcast.
Stumps Gaming.
2 Stumps Gaming. Oh, yes. Well, it's already okay. I'm going to get t-shirts.
This is as we drive past the Tap and Run, which is
Yeah,
the
the
Rust
tap room
pub.
strip.
There you go.
Stuart, you need to want to host us.
I'm teaming up with Louis, and it's Aaron and Leon together. Leon's back. Yay!
Big shout out to all my fans.
We've just we've just come out of. Okay, but yeah, it was unbelievable tournament, best tournament ever so far. Thank you to everybody that voted for us, and we got a really nice reception in the room. People were like, "I'd watch the channel,"
we're
and
loving it.
and crucially,
It was nice to meet the patrons as well. We met a few
it's
patrons.
really nice.
to meet
Yeah.
them.
Really nice to meet them.
And,
Yeah.
and crucially, we obviously lost the first battle, which was to sign up and get the name Two Trees Gaming A. We were Two Trees Gaming B. There were people in there chanting by the end, Team B. Team B till I die.